gave to Lundy, you
Sure.
said opening would depend on case numbers or the date, whichever comes later.
That's what the roadmap said 2 weeks ago, Samaya.
So whichever comes later.
That's what the roadmap says.
But you've consistently alluded that the date could be brought forward.
Yeah, no. And what I'm saying to you is that the formal position is very clear: the numbers or the date. However, we will. And if I wasn't clear, let me be clear. If circumstances change, if we find ourselves ahead of schedule, not for one day, but in a manifest sense, then of course common sense always guides us. We will look at what sits behind those numbers, and then we'll have to make a judgment, and it won't be an easy judgment. Has enough time passed for us to be confident that the numbers we're seeing are a true reflection of how much virus is out there? And they're very difficult judgments to make.
So on that point, would you start opening up testing to people who aren't showing symptoms, potentially from hotspot suburbs, industries, just so you get a better picture of what's really going on?
Well, I think the key point is, though, Rich, that a lot of asymptomatic testing won't necessarily give you a very good picture. I think it's a graduated approach. I'm not opposed to doing more of that, and we'll have more to say about testing and what it looks like in the weeks and months ahead soon. But I think it's probably more, as it stands now, we ask people who've got symptoms to come forward, and a percentage of those people do come forward, and we're deeply grateful to them. Does every symptomatic person come forward for a test? No. So, first thing, let's encourage more and more people who've got symptoms to come forward and get tested. Let's then do some innovative things at a local level to try and get more of those people to come forward. Then on top of that, there's high-risk workplaces, whether it be staff in aged care, health staff, meatworks, all the different examples we've used. The notion of mass asymptomatic testing, that'd be very much at the back end of that, because you don't get a great reward for it. However, there is a place for what's called sentinel testing, where you'll go and test a cohort of people, and that just gives you a sense of whether there's an underlying presence. And again, even though the maths is not great on the kind of strike rate, even one case matters. We're going to get to a point, and we're very close now, where ones and twos absolutely matter, because ones and twos can become 43, as they did in Hallam very, very easily.
You identified the source of that Hallam outbreak?
No, and we may never. That's the real challenge. We know obviously where the first person is and was, but even then, where that person got it from and the exact sequence in which that person and their activity led to others getting it, that'll still be being worked through. We may get clarity on that, or we may not. That's just the nature of this. Some of these riddles can be solved, and some of them can't.
Just on the reward thing, don't you need to give people a little bit of a reward to ensure you maintain compliance?
Well, I think compliance is at a very, very high level, and I'm very grateful for that. And again, I know we spend time most days, and it's not a bad thing. We spend time most days, and we turn the TV on every night. There's the news usually covers a bit of stuff around people who are breaking the rules, and that's not inappropriate. But I would make the point, let's not detract from the vast majority of people who are doing the right thing. You've got small numbers of people who aren't. You've got a much larger group of people who know and understand that the only way to beat this thing is to stay the course and to be as stubborn as this virus, and to not let your frustration get the better of you. I think that we're poised to take some significant steps, albeit they're safe and steady steps on Sunday. We're in that 30 to 50 band, and it looks like we're going to stay there. That's really very, very important. And then the weeks and months that follow, the days and weeks that follow after that, will be informed by the plan, yes, but real data overtaking assumptions. And it's just too early for us to be able to say where will we be in a fortnight, where will we be in a month. We're not opposed to doing revisions. We're not opposed to updating, particularly when it's real numbers as opposed to even rigorous assumptions. But I just get back to that central point. There is this lag issue, and you can what you do today, the impacts of that will not be clear for some weeks' time, and that's the real difficulty here. The real difficulty.